The ceremonial bells of Valdres rang across the kingdom as Prince Kale ascended to the throne, his seven-tiered guardian spirit manifesting like a tower of ethereal flame behind him. The crowd cheered, but those with keen eyes noticed how the spirit's uppermost tier flickered with an unsettling crimson hue, a color that had never adorned his father's benevolent golden aura. In the royal dungeons below, a boy of 16 winters pressed his face against the cold iron bars. Dwayne had been there for 3 moons now, ever since the night his parents were executed for treason against the crown. What treason? They had been simple wheat farmers with barely two-tier guardian spirits, hardly capable of threatening anyone, let alone the monarchy. You're the peasant boy with the quad-tier spirit, aren't you? The voice belonged to Master Thorn, the king's combat instructor. His own 5-tier guardian spirit materialized partially, just enough to demonstrate his authority. His Majesty has special plans for you. Dwayne said nothing. His own guardian spirit remained hidden, as it had since that terrible night. Sometimes power was better kept secret. King Kale's court was a marvel of strategic complexity. General Aldrich, with his 6-tier military spirit, commanded the armies with unwavering loyalty. Court Mage Lyra, her 5-tier mystical guardian shimmering with arcane knowledge, advised on matters of supernatural defense. Captain Marcus of the Royal Guard, sporting a solid 4-tier protective spirit, maintained order within the palace walls. And then there was Dwayne, the enslaved farm boy, training daily in the courtyard under Master Thorn's brutal tutelage. Your quad-tier spirit is impressive for peasant stock, Thorn would say, forcing Dwayne to spar against seasoned warriors. The king sees potential in you. Don't disappoint him. But Dwayne learned more than sword play in those sessions. He learned to watch, to listen, to understand the intricate web of power that held the kingdom together. He noticed how General Aldrich's jaw tightened whenever the king issued particularly harsh edicts. He saw how Court Mage Lyra's spirit dimmed slightly when reporting the weekly execution counts. He observed Captain Marcus avoiding direct eye contact during the daily briefings about dissidents and threats to the realm. Most importantly, he learned that King Kale's 7-tier guardian spirit wasn't just powerful, it was hungry. And it grew brighter with each life it claimed. 2 years passed. Dwayne had become one of the king's personal combat slaves, fighting in the arena for the entertainment of nobles whose multi-tier spirits gleamed with comfortable superiority. The crowds loved him, the peasant prodigy, who could best warriors twice his experience with his remarkable quad-tier guardian. You served me well, boy, King Kale said one evening, his crimson-tinged spirit looming overhead. I'm promoting you to my personal guard. You'll serve alongside Captain Marcus. Captain Marcus welcomed Dwayne with genuine warmth, something the young man hadn't experienced in years. The king values loyalty above all else, Marcus explained as they walked the palace corridors. But remember, loyalty to the crown and loyalty to the kingdom aren't always the same thing. It was a cryptic statement that would haunt Dwayne for months to come. As part of the inner circle, Dwayne witnessed the king's true nature up close. He saw villages burned for harboring dissidents. He watched as families were torn apart for possessing suspicious guardian spirit configurations. He observed the systematic elimination of anyone whose spiritual power might theoretically challenge royal authority. And through it all, General Aldrich executed orders with mechanical precision, Court Mage Lyra documented the supernatural implications of each action, and Captain Marcus maintained his perfect facade of dutiful service.
The revelation began with a whispered conversation Davin wasn't supposed to hear. The resistance grows stronger, General Aldrich murmured to Court Mage Lyra in the shadows of the war room. Reports suggest someone with a 7-tier guardian spirit leads them, someone the people believe is the rightful heir. Impossible, Lyra replied, her spirit flickering nervously. King Kale is the only living person with 7-tier power. His father's spirit was only 6-tier. Perhaps, Aldrich said grimly, but the rebels seem convinced otherwise. They call their leader, the True Crown, and claim he bears the mark of the ancient bloodline. Davin's blood ran cold. The mark of the ancient bloodline, a distinctive pattern that appeared on the guardian spirits of legitimate heirs. He had seen it only once, briefly, on the night his parents died. But not on King Kale's spirit. On his own. The pieces fell into place with horrifying clarity. Davin began investigating, using his position to access restricted archives and questioning elderly servants who remembered the previous king's reign. The truth was devastating. Davin wasn't the son of wheat farmers. He was Prince Demon, the rightful heir to the throne, hidden away as an infant when his uncle Kale orchestrated a coup. The peasant couple who raised him were loyal servants who died to protect his identity. But there was more. General Aldrich, Court Mage Lyra, and Captain Marcus weren't just loyal subjects, they were the leaders of a secret resistance, working to restore the rightful king to power. They had been protecting him for years, manipulating circumstances to keep him alive and train him, all while maintaining their cover as Kale's trusted advisors. "We've been waiting for you to discover the truth," Captain Marcus revealed during a clandestine meeting. "Your guardian spirit has been suppressing itself, hiding its true nature. But as you've grown stronger, as your understanding has deepened, the seventh tier has begun to manifest." As if summoned by his words, Davin's guardian spirit erupted around him, not the quad-tier power everyone believed he possessed, but a magnificent seven-tier golden aura that dwarfed even King Kale's crimson flame.
The final confrontation was inevitable. King Kale, sensing the growing threat, gathered his most loyal forces. But he discovered too late that his inner circle had been working against him all along. The battle royal occurred in the throne room itself, with guardian spirits clashing in displays of power that shook the very foundations of the palace. Kel's seven-tier crimson spirit, fueled by years of violence and hatred, proved formidable against Davin's newly awakened golden aura. "You think you can defeat me, boy?" Kel snarled as their spirits locked in combat. "I have ruled through strength for decades. Your father was weak, that's why he fell to my blade." But Davin had learned something his uncle never understood. True power came not from domination, but from purpose. His spirit drew strength from every life Kale had destroyed, every injustice the usurper had committed, every moment of suffering he had witnessed. General Aldrich's 6-tier military spirit provided tactical support, while Court Mage Lyra's 5-tier mystical guardian disrupted Kel's defensive enchantments. Captain Marcus, his 4-tier protective spirit shielding civilians caught in the crossfire, coordinated the evacuation of innocent palace staff. In the end, it wasn't raw power that decided the battle, but unity. Kel's spirit, fed only by cruelty and fear, could not withstand the combined force of righteousness that opposed it. As King Kel's body lay broken on the floor of the throne room, his crimson guardian spirit finally dissolved into nothingness. The tyrant's reign was over. Prince Demon no longer the enslaved boy Davin, but the rightful king of Valdris stood before his people with his 7-tier golden spirit blazing like a beacon of hope. General Aldrich knelt before him, finally able to show his true loyalty. Court Mage Lyra smiled as her spirit danced with joy at the restoration of justice. Captain Marcus, tears streaming down his weathered face, removed his helmet and bowed deeply to the king he had secretly served for so many years. The kingdom celebrated, but the new king's first act was not a celebration, it was a moment of silence for all those who had suffered under his uncle's rule, including the simple wheat farmers who had loved him as their own son and died to protect his secret. In the end, the greatest deception had been the truth hiding in plain sight, that sometimes the slave becomes the king, the peasant reveals himself as the prince, and those who appear most loyal to a tyrant are actually the architects of his downfall. The guardian spirits of Valdris glowed brighter that day, as if the very essence of the kingdom itself celebrated the return of its true protector.
In shadows deep, a prince's soul takes flight. His battle cry splits open the night. Fight, fight, ignite the fight! Crimson flames devour the dying light. 7 spirits rise to claim their right. In shadows deep, a prince's soul takes flight. His battle cry splits open the night. Fight, fight, ignite the fight! From dungeon depths to heaven's sacred peak, steel rings eternal, spirits cry and shriek. Golden power rises, destiny we seek. Ancient wars awaken, the victory for the meek. Rise, rise, to protect the weak. The throne of tyrants trembles, burns and bleeds. In every shadow, revolution sings. A battle hymn that echoes through the reeds. This tale of might, the heart of freedom beats. Rage, rage, justice intercedes. Our banners pierce the sky, the hidden prince for whom the angels cry. From broken chains, his phoenix soul will fly. This war will rage until the tyrants die. Heart, soul, never say goodbye.